Self-help gurus keep you incessantly dissatisfied with your life and prevent you from actually achieving your goals. And instead of consuming these guys' content, there's actually a much more straightforward and effective path towards actually becoming successful, but also being happy and content along the way. But before we get into that, we need to go over exactly what's wrong with the self-help industry and self-help gurus. Now, keep in mind that as I talk about this, I am someone who has been a die-hard self-help junkie for at least 4 years. And I've gone to seminars, I've done courses, I've read all the books, I've done everything that there is to offer pretty much in the self-help world. I've built the routines, I've built the habits, I've done the cold showers and the workouts and the eating healthy and productivity, XYZ, 80-20, I've done it. So this is not coming from someone who's just hating on the outside. In fact, I actually remember meeting someone who said that they, used to be into self-help, but now not so much anymore. And I remember just being so flabbergasted and confused and convinced that she was absolutely wrong to not like self-help, because what could be wrong about wanting to improve yourself, right? Well, there are a number of things, and that's what we're going to get into first in this video. So first, we're going to go over the basic structure of most self-help programs and seminars and books and all that kind of stuff. Now, it starts with setting out your goals and your dreams, right? They get you really, really pumped up thinking about what you could achieve, what you could be, what's your potential. And they build up this energy and they make you think about how great it would be if you achieved all those things that you wanted and you did everything that you ever dreamed of. Now, this is where some of them stop. They just get you super pumped up and then they say, all right, go do the shit, but they don't tell you actually how to do it. The good ones or the decent ones actually move on and they continue talking. They say, okay, now we got you all pumped up and you're ready to go do a ton of stuff with your life. Here are some practical approaches you can take towards getting into routines and habits and building your productivity and discipline and all this kind of stuff. And from this point, they pretty much say, all right, your life's solved. All you have to do is review your goals 7 times a day and work super hard and get a bunch of shit done and you'll be happily ever after and be super successful. And I get why the programs and books and everything are like this. I mean, people want to feel excited. They want to get pumped up. They want to read something or watch something that gets them feeling like they have some sort of direction and purpose and excitement in their lives. And there are a lot of people that swear by this and say that it's actually helped them build businesses, get fit, whatever. They've been motivated a lot from consuming this kind of content. And even like I mentioned earlier, I've been an avid consumer of it for many years, and it certainly has helped me build productivity habits and discipline and getting in shape and all these things. So I'm not saying that it won't help at all, but there is a big problem that I feel like not a lot of people talk about, where they're only really talking about half of the picture. So what is the big problem with this approach? I mean, I've said that I've used it, I've said that it helped me. Why am I hating on it? Well, first of all, we have to get into what people actually want when they say they want to be successful. What are they truly after? The truth is that we're all after this feeling. We're after a feeling of being successful. And what is that feeling other than this feeling of being content and satisfied and proud of your life and happy with what you've built and the way that you've spent your time? And we've all been told that the way to get to this feeling, to reach this feeling, is by changing the world around us. And usually it's by adding more to the world around us. Whether that's adding more digits to your bank account, adding more digits to your social media following, getting more fame, whatever it might be. More parties, more traveling, more peak experiences. Now, this approach encourages us to therefore just think of as many desires as possible that we want, as many things that we want to do that we don't have. And it says that the path to a happy life and a successful life is just to achieve those desires, is to reach those goals. And as soon as you reach a goal, it says to set even higher and bigger goals, because bigger and more is always better, right? That's the fundamental philosophy of this argument. Now, this kind of reminds me of a dog chasing its tail. As soon as we have a chance at reaching that level of satisfaction and fulfillment and contentment that we're after, we kind of just raise the bar a little bit and we put it again out of reach and we say, okay, I reached this, but really after I hit this next goal and make that next million, then I'll truly have that feeling that I'm after, because that's what we're after, is a feeling. Now, this fact applies no matter what level of achievement you've reached. If you're just starting out and don't even have a business yet, or a huge social media following, whatever it is, or if you're already famous and rich. How many rich and wealthy people do you know, or do you know of, that are not still actively trying to make more money and spend their time actively trying to acquire it? How many times does that second or third bowl of ice cream actually give you as much happiness and joy and love of life as that first bowl? How many times does it double it or triple it? It doesn't. The truth is that success has diminishing returns. And it's crucial that we realize this fact, because if we don't realize this, then we just spend our lives like a dog chasing its tail. We're perpetually dissatisfied, perpetually raising the bar, and like moving happiness as a goalpost. Because our minds are not meant to make us happy. Our little monkey minds are actually working against us to keep us dissatisfied, because that made us have a higher chance of surviving back in hunter-gatherer times. And that's how we've evolved. It is crucial to realize this so you don't waste your entire life chasing that ever-escaping point of making it. So if we shouldn't be chasing success as this thing that's off in the distance that we have to work for and spend our lives shooting for, then what do we do? Because that's what we've all been taught. So I've been taught it's what being ambitious is. You set goals and you go to achieve them, because that's what successful people do. Well, first of all, I do have to give some credit where credit is due to the self-help industry and everything that it argues for. I think that there is a list, albeit a short list, of things that actually pretty much inarguably do improve your life. And that is mostly cliches. You've probably heard them. The first one is going to bed and getting up at the same time every day and getting enough sleep. Then there's exercising, there's eating healthily, there's meditation, which I actually genuinely believe in. And then there's things like digital minimalism, just getting off social media more and being more conscious of how you're spending your time on your digital electronics. And then there's also things like blocking off a chunk of time in the day where you're just really focused for work and nothing else is distracting you. And you could throw in things like goal setting if you want. Personally, I don't really enjoy goal setting that much because it makes me dissatisfied with my current life because I get so focused on the future. But I mean, that list is pretty, inarguably, it's gonna make your life better, I think, in most cases. Now that said, after you really nail that short list, there's really not a whole lot that most self-help is going to do for you. It's very high diminishing returns. Instead, the approach that I have found is much more fulfilling after you reach that point of kind of generally having your shit together in your habits and your routines, is taking what's called a craftsman's approach to life and your career. Now, a craftsman's approach to life is actually much simpler and straightforward than this whole self-help chasing success idea. And really it's rooted in skill acquisition. It just means that, look, true satisfaction and fulfillment from a career primarily comes from mastering some sort of skill and using that skill to provide value to other people and be recognized for that value and be appreciated and validated. So really, the approach that I've found after you get this basic habit and health baseline is to really just pick a skill and work on that thing every single day. Now, you shouldn't pick this skill based on what you think it'll make you as far as money goes or social status or followers go. You should choose it because it is somehow inherently rewarding and stimulating and challenging to you. For me, this has been things like writing and making these videos, and also things like coding. I just get a lot of satisfaction out of the challenge of learning how to code and building software. Now, that was a super short recap of an actually really interesting and cool idea and approach to life. And if you're interested in that, if that sounds cool to you, I recommend checking out either Robert Greene or Cal Newport, because they've both written books and they write a lot about this approach to life that I currently subscribe to and think should be talked about more. Now, as far as when to work on this skill and when to put it into your daily routine, which is ultimately the most important part, thinking about this all theoretically is great, but actually applying it to your life is where you actually improve. So personally, I like to schedule this session of skill development and deep focus after I work out in the morning, which usually comes right after I meditate. So I get up, meditate, work out, and then there's that multi-hour block of time where I just sit, I'm totally undistracted, and I just work on developing that skill. Now, once you finish that chunk of work in the morning, or whenever you choose to do it, I like the morning because then once you finish it in the morning, you can chill the rest of the day. Like, you don't have to have this constant pressure that you put on yourself to be productive because you've scheduled it into the morning and you've just said, as long as I get this chunk done, I'm good. And I can focus on enjoying the rest of the day, whether that be going out and being in nature, talking with friends, reading, playing video games, whatever you want. And I just love that because it allows me to both get the productive and ambitious side of me filled, and then also the present and just content side of me. And I think it's important to kind of separate those two, but give enough attention to each of them. Now, why is this approach better than what I've experienced and what many others experience in the self-help industry and consuming all these self-help gurus' material? Well, I can think of a lot of reasons, but there are two main ones that I want to talk about. And the first one is the fact that you are content. You are happy. And you are happy and content not because you are just suddenly switched and you're like a Buddhist monk and just loves being in the present moment and gets fulfillment from anything. No, you're happy because you've moved the bar to reaching this arbitrary level of success in life, this grand, like, just vague word of success. You've moved that to a day-by-day activity. You've said, as long as I do my work every single day and I do this little chunk of skill acquisition and work, I am successful. I have been successful. And then it frees you to enjoy the rest of your life. And number two is that paradoxically, because you're less focused on achieving this arbitrary success in the future, you're actually more successful in the future because you actually sit down and just work every single day. See, people that are so obsessed with self-help and like motivation and productivity and hustle, they actually, most of them don't work that much. They spend their time talking about it and getting really excited about it, but they don't actually sit down and just do the work. That's what has to happen. You have to just sit down and do the work. It's much simpler than a lot of people make it out to be. And that is it. This kind of content has really helped improve my quality of life dramatically, and I hope that you apply at least some of it, and at the very least you stop being so obsessed on perfecting and optimizing every little aspect of your life, because honestly it's exhausting and you never get there. So if you know someone that could benefit from this kind of video, maybe they're a self-help junkie like I was, please share this with them. And if you like this kind of content that's a little bit like controversial, what's wrong, I also did another video called Why the Digital Nomad Lifestyle is Overrated, that went over my experience as a digital nomad and why I think it's overrated and doesn't quite provide you that satisfaction or contentment or happiness and solve all your problems as we like to imagine, or at least I did. So go ahead and check that out, and if you like this kind of video and this kind of content in general, consider subscribing and looking at my other videos, because I make a lot of these. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.